Rick Halbleib didn't plan on going to college. Nobody in his blue-collar Jefferson County community did. Folks from Valley Village graduated from high school and went to work at Ford or General Electric. That might have been his life story too, but Aunt Susie would have none of it. She was a nurse, and she lived in Morehead.
And she said, no, you need to go to college. She said, Morehead is a great college. She said, you ought to go to Morehead. And I said, well, I don't have any money. And she said, well, you have great grades. So go see your counselor, go see your high school counselor, tell him you want to go to Morehead.
He did. He got a scholarship too. When he arrived on the Rowan County campus, a love affair was born.
I loved Morehead. I loved the campus, I loved the teachers, I loved the faculty. I really, really, really loved the president and his wife. So Adrian Doran was the president and Manon Doran was his wife. And they were very personable people. And I don't know anybody who went to Morehead I came in 1970, okay? And so when I came in, I didn't know anybody who hadn't met Adrian Doran and Manon Doran.
Mrs. Doran even encouraged him to enroll in her Professional Development Institute, which he says paid dividends later during his military career. Rick Halbleib was a political science and history major. He got involved in the ROTC program.
And I loved ROTC. I loved, I got involved in student politics. I was in student government. I ended up getting in a fraternity, great bunch of guys. They were Theta Chi's. And I didn't even know anybody who'd ever been in a fraternity.
But of all the things he treasures about MSU, one ranks high above the others.
The thing I loved most about it really is the fact that that's where I met my wife. And so I was a junior and she was a freshman and she was in the Miss MSU pageant and I saw her up there and I had a bunch of my fraternity brothers there and then she was a music major. And so for her talent, she was a pianist, right? So she played the piano. And I have absolutely zero artistic talent, whether it's music or art, I have none. And so here she was, she was really good. So I met her there and we ended up getting married. And now next year we'll be married 50 years.
It was a union, he says, that not only gave him a partner, but a coach and a mentor too. Halbleib made good grades in the ROTC program and became a distinguished military graduate. He was poised to enter the Army as a military intelligence officer.
I got a regular Army commission in military intelligence, and I promptly applied for a student deferment, educational delay, because I loved Morehead. And there was an opportunity there to go into grad school, so I took it.
After earning master's degrees in higher education and adult continuing education, Halbleib began his military service.
And when I got in, I went to Fort Huachuca, the home of military intelligence, and I was trained to be an intelligence officer, and it was so intriguing, so fascinating. It was just unimaginable, the kind of work that the military intelligence people do. So I got in, and the first thing I realized was that all these people were going off to specialty skill schools like airborne school to jump out of jets. And I was like, well, I want to do that. How do you get to do that? And they said, well, you have to apply for it and this, so I did. So they sent me to airborne school. So I was jumping, I got in parachuting. And later on I got into, when I went to Belgium, I went to the Belgian jump school and jumped out of balloons and I got Belgian jump wings. So for me, the Army was an adventure. And it was giving me opportunities that I would never imagine. I'd always hoped one day maybe I could do some of this, but I never knew how. And the Army gave me the opportunity to do all the things that I always dreamt about.
Those experiences included keeping the peace in Korea, ousting a drug-dealing dictator in Panama, and humanitarian relief in Somalia, where 350,000 people perished during a civil war and famine.
It was called Restore Hope Somalia. And we went in and took our embassy back in Mogadishu. And one of the highlights was I got to meet President Bush, who flew in at Christmas and surprised us. He had just lost the election. And he talked to us and he actually came to my office and asked me, what are you doing? And on that operation, we were taking down cities in Somalia because it was Somalia had no government. It was completely anarchy, and as you remember, everyone was dying because they couldn't get any food or water. So we went in, asked Boutros-Ghali, the Secretary General of the United Nations, asked President Bush to send the military in to secure the airheads and the seaports so we could get food to the people. So we went in and did that.
After more than 2 decades in the Army, Rick Halbleib retired as a colonel. He then joined the National Security Agency, where he briefed the country's top leaders on intelligence issues.
I had the opportunity to talk personally with presidents on intelligence issues and their senior staff on the facts of what's going on and answer their questions. I was given the opportunity to testify to Congress in closed session, to like the Senate in the rotunda of the Capitol. I was given the opportunity to work with foreign senior officers like presidents of countries, right? And it was a great opportunity to work at the highest levels.
Rick Halbleib's combined service with the NSA and the Army spanned 44 years, 4 continents, and multiple countries. Quite a ride for a kid from Valley High School. Reflecting on his life, he says he knows 2 things for sure about this world. The United States is its greatest country, and MSU is a gateway to that world.
I was always very proud of the fact that I went to Morehead. I got a great education. They well-rounded me as a person in so many ways, academically, socially, and there was no political environment at Morehead, so I was given a very good scholarly education. And they set me up for life. I mean, they did. They set me up for life. If it hadn't been for Morehead, none of what I've been able to do would have ever been possible.
Rick Halbleib serves today as president of Global Watchmen Associates, a group of senior executives who advise corporate leaders on national defense, intelligence, and cybersecurity issues. He also joins another esteemed organization, the Morehead State University Alumni Hall of Fame.